I love this.
Recording in
I have
progress.
to say, it's hold cold water, it's fit the bag, so I'm so obsessed with it. Yeah.
See, I know.
I know, now I know why you like it, Mayor. It's really good one. You need to steal one. No, it's a record.
water bottle.
The deal is to show up there with chairs. So the deal is to show up with your own chairs.
Really will have a fly?
All right, good evening. I will now call the Auburn Study Session meeting for Monday, July 27th, 2026 to order. Tonight's study session meeting will be held both in person and virtually. Hannah, can you please call roll?
Deputy Mayor Taylor.
Here.
Councilmember Ammer.
Here.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Running late.
Councilmember Locke.
Here.
Councilmember Rakes.
Here.
Councilmember Sturgis.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
All right, thank you, Hannah. We have no announcements, reports, or presentations tonight. I would normally turn the meeting over to Councilmember Baldwin. She's the Vice Chair of Public Works and Community Development Special Focus Area, but since she is not quite here yet, we will go ahead and get started. So we will start first with Public Works Community Development discussion items, and that will be capital projects status update and feature capital project. Director Gabb.
Yes, and I have a group coming up tonight. So we've got Matt Larson, who is our senior project engineer, Veronica Bean, who is our transportation planner, and Samim Kuyami, who is one of our project engineers, to give you an update on where we're at with our projects.
Fabulous, thank you. Welcome, guys.
Council members, Mayor, thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Public Works Department Engineering Group to talk about the capital project status report and a feature capital project that we'd like to highlight. So currently, capital projects. So at the current status, we have 45 active capital projects. Approximately total project value of $156 million. Of that, 26 are into the design phase and 19 are in the construction phase. Just a reminder, I think we say this at every meeting, but just a reminder, these dollar values span multiple years. So this isn't just for this year, these are multiple year projects. So a lot of them are multiple year projects. So just keep that in mind when we're talking about large $1 million. So and as another reminder, so the CPS report provided in the packet, it looks similar to this one. This one is not up to date, but this is just an example. This just shows some basic information about the project. You can go, or even the public can go onto our website, the City of Auburn's main webpage, navigate to our Public Works page, capital projects, and you can click on the interactive capital projects mapping tool, where it shows a map of all of the active projects that are in capital for the capital projects team. They're laid out by design and construction, so it's easy to know if something is actually active in construction or something that's still in design. And it also has a layer in there for completed projects if you had a question about a past project maybe. So, if anybody has walked around downtown recently, you'll probably have noticed there's quite a bit of construction activity going on. It can be inconvenient, I understood, but it is also exciting at the same time, right? We've got a lot going on downtown. I'm going to highlight a few of the projects that we're all aware of downtown, but I also didn't want to forget some of those other ones that are going on in construction, outside the downtown area. So I'm going to briefly just go through a few of those projects as well. So one that I know there's a lot of excitement about, the Auburn Avenue Theater and the Theater Park Plaza project. So there's a picture up there. We all had the groundbreaking back in May. Really exciting, really good turnout. The weather was awesome. There was just a lot of energy for that, and we want to continue that with the momentum into the construction. So currently, if you've walked by the site, you've seen that now all of the ground improvements are complete. Subsurface ground improvements are now complete. They've dug out for the basically the lower seat area of the house. So if you walk out there right now, you'll see they're forming up the foundation, putting in the formwork for the foundation, concrete foundations. And they're looking to start pouring some concrete as early as next week, or actually potentially by the end of this week. I'll know more tomorrow. I might be meeting with them, but so really exciting. Just a reminder, it's approximately 14-month duration of construction. So we are tentatively showing a ribbon cutting in the third quarter of 27. More information to come. We'll just try to provide updates as often as we can. So this project is CP 1622 Auburn Way South widening Hemlock to Poplar. This is not in our downtown area. This is up on the plateau up by Chinook Elementary. We're really excited that this project is nearly complete. We finished out the paving, the new roadway surface last month. There's some minor correction items that need to take place, and then the RRFB, the rapid rectangular rapid flashing beacon signal crossing, the mid-block crossing near the Poplar curve there. They had ordered it to come in, and one of the parts was not operational, so they had to get a new part. So we're waiting for that before we can open up that crosswalk. But we're really, really excited. This was a large project for us, and I'm just excited that it's coming to an end. This project is the Public Works M&O Facilities Improvement Phase 1. This is a new fleet shop for our M&O small fleet vehicle maintenance group. Really excited that this one's is nearing completion. There's some remaining work to do. There's overhead hosing for their like oil change things. They need to put in the vehicle lifts. Security and access system still needs to be finished up. They have some corrective work that they need to do, and then some flooring, and then a HVAC exhaust for the vehicle exhausts. That's remaining. So looking at the pictures, it's looking very close to being done, but there are still some things that we need to finish up so that we can get that M&O group in there. And I know that team is very excited to use their new space. Make it much easier for them to work on the fleet vehicles for us. Downtown project here, the city parking lot replacement. So this is city employee parking to replace the lot that we lost with the new Sound Transit garage that's going in. This project is very close. Actually, starting today, we were able to start parking some employee vehicles there and some fleet vehicles. Not all of the spots are fully open yet. There's a decorative railing that needs to go in along one area, so we didn't want to open up those spots. And then there's the parking lot lights that's still remaining to be completed, and then some other minor corrective work remaining. So this one's really exciting as well. And then I assume that there's a lot of familiarity with this project. And this picture was actually taken just, I think, maybe 2 weeks ago, and a lot has happened since this picture was taken. You go out there now, all of the crosswalks, concrete crosswalks are in it's all paved out, and they are looking to open up this roadway by the end of this week. So there are still work remaining. There's some of the electrical, the lighting, and then the RFB system that I mentioned on the previous project. RFB system is still remaining, and that's going to take some time to get. So my understanding is this is going to be open as an all-way stop for temporarily until we can get those flashing beacons installed. And then if there's any questions about the projects, capital projects or the project report, just ask that you hold those questions until the end. I'm happy to answer any of those questions. But at this time, I'm going to pass it on to Veronica and Samim to talk about our future capital project.
Thanks.
Yep.
Good evening. So Samim, who is the project manager on this project, and I'm the program manager for this project, will be going over our neighborhood traffic safety and sidewalk repair project for this year at CP 2512. So the purpose of this project kind of encompasses two different programs in the same project. The first program is our neighborhood traffic safety program. That program as a whole has a goal to reduce speed and cut through traffic in neighborhoods, making streets safer for pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers, and improving the lives of the people who live there. So this year, this project is focusing on I Street Northeast. And the reasons why we chose that area to focus on for 2026 is that we do have some future projects, larger projects that are planned out in our comprehensive transportation plan, but those projects are longer term and not yet funded. And in the meantime, before we are able to get to those larger projects, we do have some current issues that we have seen on I Street Northeast. So the new connection all the way up to South 277th Street, as well as some new and planned development in the area and the future King County Metro I-Line Rapid Ride on Auburn Way North. Running alongside that, those all are creating additional vehicle traffic as well as additional pedestrian and bicycle traffic along I Street Northeast. And then with that, we've also heard concerns from the community about speeding, cars leaving the road, drivers not stopping at stop signs, and some sidewalk gaps. And so that is the reasons that we chose to address I Street Northeast with this year's project. And then the other program that is involved in this project is our sidewalk repair and accessibility program. So there's a couple parts of this project. Occasionally when private vegetation or some other property owner behavior has damaged sidewalk, maybe vegetation roots have lifted it, the property owner is responsible for repairing that. The city provides an option that they could pay the city a fee in lieu of doing the repairs themselves, and then we'll incorporate those locations in a citywide project. So we have some locations for that in this project. And we also have some sidewalk locations that have become damaged for some reason, but this because it's not caused by a private property owner vegetation or something like that, the city's responsible for those repairs. So we have some locations with those. So the goals for the sidewalk repair portion of this project is just improve our sidewalks for pedestrians across the city. Here's a map of our project area. So as I mentioned, it is I Street Northeast. It's all the way from Harvey all the way up to 45th Street Northeast. So this is just a bird's eye view of the project area. I want to go over what the existing conditions were before we started planning and designing this project. So we did multiple speed studies along the corridor. The results of those speed studies found that drivers were going a bit faster on the northern end of the corridor. The colors along the corridor from green up to yellow to potentially red indicate how many miles per hour over the speed limit some drivers were going. We look at how fast 85% of drivers go or slower. So for example, up here, the yellow indicates 85% of drivers were traveling at 6 to 10 miles over the speed limit or slower. As you can see, it's a darker green at the more southerly end of the corridor. The red dots indicate collisions from the 3 years prior to when this data was collected, which was at the end of 2025. So you can see that crashes occurred throughout the corridor with some clusters at some of the intersections. There were also some sidewalk gaps on the east side of I Street from 40th up to the Monterey Park neighborhood, which is this neighborhood up here, and also north of the Monterey Park neighborhood. And then also a sidewalk gap on the west side along that same stretch from 40th up to 45th. And there is also a bike facility gap from 40th to 45th. So south of there, we do have bike lanes, but north of 40th, we do not have any bicycle facilities. So also prior to starting design on this project, we wanted to ask folks what they thought, like what issues that they were coming up, what they were seeing, or their concerns about this street. We held an online open house. We mailed out postcards to people living near that project area to make sure that they knew about it. We received a total of 104 responses. This question shows what from most responded to least responded to, what the people's biggest concerns for transportation safety on I Street were. We allowed people to choose up to 3 concerns. So the total number here will be more than the total number of responses, but we let people choose up to 3. So as you can see, the top 3 responses were speeding drivers, drivers not stopping at stop signs, and drivers not paying attention to crosswalks or pedestrians. We also allowed people to give us location-specific concerns, like type of free-form comment for specific locations. This map shows where some of those concerns were. So throughout the entire corridor, a little bit of a cluster around 37th Street Northeast up here with concerns about stop sign compliant at this always stop. And then all of this feedback allowed us and fed into when we started designing the project. And I will pass it on to Samim.
Thank you, Veronica. Good evening, council members. My name is Samim Qiyumi, one of the project engineer. So based on our data collection and crash history analysis and pre-design outreach to the community and community feedbacks, we have developed a design and improvements intended to reduce the speedings, and also pedestrian safety and bicycle connectivity along the corridor. The project improvements includes reducing the speed limits to 30 miles per hour from 35 miles per hour, and also installing speed feedback signs, speed limit signs throughout the corridor, and also marking pedestrian crosswalks at side streets all along the I Street Northeast on each side. We're also filling sidewalk gaps and bike lane gaps by constructing new sidewalks and shared use path and improving pedestrian crossing at several locations. Additional improvements includes raised crosswalks, enhanced intersection crossing, and modification to 22nd Street Northeast roundabout, track apron to accommodate semi-track turnings, and also includes the sidewalk repair throughout the city as a part of the sidewalk repair program. After developing the preliminary design, we returned to the community to gather feedbacks on our proposed design improvements. We received a mixed opinion on changing the speed limits, but there were strong support for creating a continuous bicycle connection between 45th Street Northeast to 37th Street Northeast. The reason for that was to improve access to the interurban trail for bicyclists and pedestrians. Residents also shared some concern about the pavement condition on I Street Northeast, and we had several comments expressing overall support for the construction of this safety improvement project. One of the goals of this project was filling the sidewalk gaps and bike lane gaps. The project is also connecting those gaps by constructing new sidewalk and new shared use path as shown in this image. So this project connect the sidewalk gap at 15th Street Northeast, which Veronica is pointing on, and then also at 40th Street Northeast, from 40th Street Northeast to 45th Street Northeast. We construct a shared use path and also a two-way bike lane adjacent to Monterey Park. And the shared use path will have a 2 feet buffer as shown on this section. And this would be a shared use path with a 2 feet buffer between the vehicular traffic and also the pedestrians. Also, we are adding a new crosswalk at 45th Street Northeast with RFBs. This would be a new crossing on I Street. At the stop, we have some improvement at intersection. So this is a always stop control. These are the two always stop control intersections at 37th Street Northeast and 28th Street Northeast. At these two intersections, we will be installing stop sign with red flashing beacons and constructing new median islands and also refreshing the pavement marking on these two intersections for safer pedestrian crossing at these intersections. At the 30th Street Northeast, which is currently no stop control, it's a two-way stop control, but not a stop control on I Street Northeast. We are adding a new crosswalk marking with RFBs for safer pedestrian crossing at this intersection. So the project also includes proposed raised crosswalk at two locations, at 15th Street Northeast and near 42nd Street Northeast. So each raised crosswalk will have RFBs as shown in this image. They will have RFBs and marked crosswalk, which will provide a safer crossing for pedestrian and also will encourage the driver to reduce the speeds as they approach the raised crosswalk. The budget and schedule of the project. The project is funded through both capital improvement funds and Arterial Street Fund, with a total estimated construction and design of $1.2 million. The design for the sidewalk repair program is completed and the project will be advertised this week. But for I Street Northeast focus area, the construction will be, the project will be advertised for construction in late fall, and both phases of the project will be completed by Q2 of 2027. I think that's all. That concluded the presentation for this project. If there is any question.
So any questions regarding the feature project or for the capital project status report?
Also, the website on this page will take you to additional information and more details about the I Street project, if you so desire.
Sounds good. I did see a hand over here first. Councilmember Briggs.
Hi, I just have a question about the roundabout on 22nd Street. What exactly are truck aprons and will that make the roundabout smaller?
We are making the truck apron larger.
Okay.
To accommodate those semi-truck. Mostly they are going to the Super Saver, which is on the south side of the roundabout.
But the actual circumference that the vehicles will drive will be the same circumference, right?
Yes, it will be just the truck apron, the portion which is raised from the pavement.
Oh, okay.
It allows trucks to kind of cross over that raised concrete area without breaking the concrete.
Yes.
And the buses.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Baldwin. First off, thank you for the presentation. So I'm super excited to see this work coming into I Street. I mean, we've heard multiple times from constituents about how important it is to, kind of slow it down a little bit. I'm more excited about the rapid flashing beacons, especially around the river community. That is super beneficial, especially in that area. More so along the lines of that, I'm kind of curious about the speed limit piece, right? You had mixed reactions to that. What was that there? Like, what were they saying?
The mixed reactions were kind of all over the board. There were some people that approved of lowering from 35 to 30. There were some people that wanted us to lower it even more to 25. And then there were some that didn't want us to lower it at all. So it was just kind of all over the board on that piece.
Did they give a reason behind it?
I think some people who didn't want it lowered just like using it. It is an arterial, so people do like using it as an arterial and also maybe to like avoid some traffic on Auburn Way North. That's also some of the reasons why people want it lower is to prevent people from using it to avoid Auburn Way North. And then also some people just, their concerns around speeding vehicles, they just had a preference for lower speeds.
Very good, thank you.
Councilmember Sturgis.
Thank you, Councilmember Baldwin. Thank you guys so much. Just a quick question on when you're saying that private property owners could pay a fee to be included in the city's overall repair. Do you have an idea? I'm sure it's different, but is there a typical fee of what that is or?
Yes, so we have in our city's fee schedule, it's a price per square foot of sidewalk that needs to be replaced. So the total fee will depend on the amount of sidewalk that has been damaged. For 2026, I believe the total, it's $36 per square foot with an administrative fee as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Councilmember Lott.
Yeah, and I appreciate all the details you have here. CP 2512, on page 24, it showed the cost is $1,195,000 estimated cost. On 35, it shows $987,000. So I was wondering what the differences were.
That's a good question. So I'm assuming that that's the most accurate.
Yes, what's that number?
This is the
987.
Yes, this is the correct number in the presentation. I think there
We'll
was.
get that updated in the status report. Thank you for
Okay.
bringing that up. Appreciate it.
I have a couple of questions before we wrap up. The first was in the first section. I was curious with the new employee parking lot, how many spaces is that going to be able to accommodate?
So it's 74 spaces total with 4 ADA, and there is also 9 spots for future AV.
Okay, great. Okay. And then perhaps a bit of a clarifying question. When you guys referenced in the I Street project, some of the issues and concerns, speeding was one of them. You had also noted cars leaving the road. Are people trying to send it? Like, are they launching their vehicles, or what does that mean?
To the best of my knowledge, from what we've heard from the community, I think that's actually very directly related to speeding. Like maybe a driver is speeding down the roadway and just kind of loses control and gets off, like leaves the roadway, like crashes into a fence or something like that.
Good to know.
Yeah.
And Councilmember Sturgis.
Thank you. The site is awesome, by the way, the website there, so thank you. But how, if I'm a community member who has private property and wants to reach out to you to be included, how do I get a hold of you? Is it through this same contact information here or?
They could, that would eventually get to the correct person. They could always call the Public Works Engineering main line. Usually with the sidewalk repair, the first step is always to report the damaged sidewalk so then we can make any temporary repairs that need to be, so like either Public Works Engineering main line or the Maintenance and Operations M&O main line. They could put in a C-click fix request about the sidewalk. Or, I mean, they could always email me. that works too. So any of those with those, it's always first is make sure we do any temporary repairs that need to be done to make sure that the sidewalk remains accessible to everyone. And then usually the next step is to determine, is it the city's responsibility to repair it or is it a property owner's responsibility to repair it? And then we go from there.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. So let's go back on the I Street project and what's the coordination with Metro on the Rapid Ride Eye Line? Are we working in conjunction with them on how that looks or?
So the city in general has had a lot of coordination with Metro with the I-Line project. In terms of its relation and coordination with the I Street project, there's not I don't think there's any direct coordination, like the projects shouldn't, like construction of the projects shouldn't impact each other. But we did definitely keep that in mind when planning and designing this project. For example, the filling in the sidewalk gap on 15th Street provides then a continuous sidewalk link to the 15th Street station for the link, and that was definitely something we thought about and why we included that location in it.
Thank you.
My question would follow what we heard from Councilmember Sturgis. In the space of the private property owners that might be affected by the repairs, do you know how many parcels that is along the designated area?
So the sidewalk locations are all throughout the city, not necessarily specifically around the I Street project area. The I Street project area is specifically for our neighborhood traffic safety focus area for that year. Do you recall off the top of the head how many sidewalk locations we have?
We have 14 locations throughout the city and it's all over the city.
And then with that, if there's a property owner that wants to be included in the city project for repair, how would payment work for that individual? Would they need to pay up front? Do they have installment plans? What are those options for those individuals?
Right, they can, if they wish to opt into that program, the fee can either be paid all up front, or we do have a 1-year payment plan that is interest-free option.
If I can add just one clarification, just so everybody understands. So that program is around damaged sidewalk that exists in front of somebody's home. So typically a raised sidewalk of some sort that is causing a problem. I don't know of many property owners that come to us and tell us that, other than when they see the issue and they notify us through that C-click fix or through the calling us and letting us know. And then we make that determination, is it a city issue or is it the property owner? There aren't very many property owners out there that are just like seeking to figure out how to get that done, because usually it means that they have to pay, so it's not normally the question unless it's a tripping hazard and they're asking us to address that.
Thank you for the additional context. Councilmember Lott?
I just want to ask one question along the same line, and that is, if the repair were covered by a grant that the city received, would the property owner still be charged?
So can you repeat the question?
Yeah, if there was an issue with a sidewalk, it was deemed the property owner's problem, and the city had grant money that could repair.
So typically, if we have that situation and we know that we have that property owner responsible for that work, that would not typically be eligible for grant funds, because it would be something triggered for that private property owner to do. And any grant that we're applying for, we would probably be counting that as city contribution to that grant application as match to that grant. And so it wouldn't be double counting or double payment in that situation.
And then from my own standpoint, I was going to say I'm very excited to see the considerations for biking incorporated into the I Street project. I think, as with most people, if you only get 3 choices on a survey and you're biking, you want people not to be speeding right next to you. So I think that speeding likely entails both bicycle and pedestrian safety as much as anything. When we add that section that you had shown, I think you said it would be connecting that last portion up by, I think it's Coppergate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Will that give us a full connection all the way down to 15th or to Harvey? I think you said it might complete
Yes.
that stretch.
I'm envisioning where our bike lanes are right now in my head. I believe so. Yeah. And the other thing to keep in mind too with this is we do have a future comprehensive transportation plan project at this section that would include bike lanes on both sides of the street. So this is kind of envisioned as more of like a short-term solution to create that connectivity and a little bit more additional safety for cyclists and pedestrians on this section as well.
Okay. And then on the image that you have on the slide that shows filling in the pedestrian bike gaps, I think it shows a 6-foot two-way bike lane and then a 2-foot gap. And zooming in a lot, it looks like there's a little something. Is that, is there gonna be,
So
In the buffer?
yeah, in the buffer?
Yes, so we'll have the 2 white lines painted, but then there'll also be some physical kind of like curbing, so a physical buffer as well. And then also is the bike lane now, we revised it to be 10-foot two-way bike lane?
it will be after the 40th Street between, in front of the.
Is that-
No, that's 6 feet stop.
For two-way? For the shared use,
For shared
shared
use.
use is 6 feet, and then there is a bit of a two-way bike lane a little bit farther south, kind of where there currently is sidewalk in front of the Monterey Park neighborhood. And then the two-way bike lane will be 10-foot to allow for
10
bikes to
yes.
pass each other, but the shared use path will be 6-foot.
Yes.
But yes, the buffer will have some physical curbing buffering as well, is painted.
Great. I think that always makes a big difference for
Yes.
people who are trying to bike in and around and near traffic, feeling a little bit safer, so that's really great to see. And then I had a resident actually take me through on I Street and show me a biking enthusiast who was saying, look how nice this is, look at these trees through here, you know, this could be a really great asset for people who want to be able to do more transit that way, so these seem like great improvements, thank you. Council, any last questions? Councilmember Amber.
I just want to say thank you for taking care of I Street. I use it all the way from the time to go to 272nd, and I know there is some area there is no sidewalk, especially in winter. I know the resident, they love to walk, so thank you.
Thanks.
I appreciate that's really in this area. I cannot wait to see it.
Great.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your presentation. All right. Next up, we will hear about the parks projects for 2026 with a status update from Director. I should have asked them if they had any way to fix getting past the trains on 37th.
No.
Thank you. I'm Julie Kruger, the Auburn Parks Arts and Recreation Director. I'm here with Daniel Gauck tonight, Park Planning and Development Manager for the department. And Councilmember Baldwin, Deputy Mayor, Council, thank you for having us tonight. We've got a host of information to share about park project status updates and some community projects as well. And so just kind of a plethora of different things we've been working on over the past 6 months. I'm gonna have Nathaniel kick us off. I'll jump in when we start talking a little bit about the flood recovery efforts at the golf course and items there in the senior center. And then we'll kick it back to Nathaniel, who will talk about our community partnership projects.
Thanks. Good evening, Mayor, Council, Deputy Mayor. So as Julie mentioned, we kind of have it broken into 2 sections with park projects and our community partnership. So kind of run through those. So the first slide here, this is just a list of the projects that I'll go through just for reference, and then I'll go through kind of these in bullet point by bullet point. So the RCO Recreation and Conservation Office, they opened their grants up earlier this year for a couple programs. One was youth athletic facilities, and the other one was local parks grants. the resolutions council acted on last Monday to approve resolutions for the city to apply for those grants. And so those resolutions were submitted along with our application. Applications were actually submitted back in May, and then they opened it back up to do revisions on it, which we completed about 2 weeks ago and got those submitted. The first grant that we applied for was for youth athletic facilities, or YAF, through RCO. This one was for Brandon Park. Our application was I'll kind of start on the right side. We applied to convert the 2 remaining dirt infields to synthetic turf to match Field 1, which you can see on the left image there. That's already turf that was done several years ago, I think through an RCO grant as well. And then the other part of the grant that we applied for was to add a youth cricket pitch in the large grass area in the northwest portion of the park. It's seldomly used for soccer nowadays, but we did apply to install the cricket pitch and kind of laid it out in the middle of it so that you can still have 2 full-size soccer fields on either side of the pitch and just kind of have it in the middle. The pitch itself is similar to the dirt or the infields. It's a concrete pad with AstroTurf put on top of it. It's about 10 by 60 or 40 or so, something about that. And the reason we did that was because probably about this time last year, we had at least 3, maybe 4 different youth cricket groups from kind of the Puget Sound, South Puget Sound area that reached out to us and said, hey, we don't have anywhere to play down here. We have to go up to Marymore to play. And they have these youth groups or youth leagues with all these kids that don't have anywhere to play down here. And so we said, hey, we have a good spot here. And kind of the dashed circle around there is the dimensions for the youth, focusing on youth because adult cricket pitch is quite a bit larger, but the youth pitch cricket field fit perfectly within this grass area. So we included that as part of our application to RCO. And then with the cricket, after 104 years or whatever, it's going to be a sport in the Olympics in LA coming up. And so we're trying to, kind of get with the times, I guess, but try to include that in there. And if we're not able to get this grant, we've got a couple quotes for the pitch itself, and it's not too expensive. So if we're not able to get it, we can still look at installing that just with park levy funds, something like that. But we wanted to include as much as we could in the overall project to get better scores with RCO. So that's why you see a new restroom building, new bullpens for the fields 2 and 3 as well. The next application through RCO was through their local parks program. This one is specifically for Terminal Park Playground, just kind of on the mid-southish end of the city. The existing playground is on the left-hand side there, and it was built around over 20 years ago, between 2002 and 2004. So it's kind of end of its useful life. We're not able to get replacement parts for the slides and other components of it. So if the slide, one of those slides is broken, then it's just going to get blocked off, and we want to try to get to ahead of the curve on that. So we had a couple options or estimates, quotes, I guess, that we got for playground replacement. The rendering on the right-hand side is just one option that they proposed to us. If we are awarded the grant, then we would get a couple different options and talk to the neighbors. It's a neighborhood park, so we talked to neighbors to get input on what exactly they're looking for. And one kind of major change to this playground too would be, you can see on the left it has the wood chips, which are technically ADA accessible technically, but with our application and the estimates that we got, we would do a poured-in-place surface, so it's the bouncy rubber stuff like we have down at Lesco, essentially. So you can glide right in with a walker or a wheelchair or whatever device you need, and so it would just kind of go up to the existing level of the concrete sidewalk and curbing that goes around there. The other grant that we applied for, almost the same as Terminal Park. Again, this is one of our, I think probably our oldest playground that we still have in operation. There's an image of it on the left-hand side. This is at Veterans Park. I know we've all been there. I like the picture on the left just because it shows the old metal slide, which we've all been down a metal slide in the sun. And this is same thing as Terminal Park. You know, we have just this one image. This is just one image. We had a couple of quotes, but just threw this in there for the presentation. But it also shows the port in place surfacing, where it would go up to the existing walkways and curbing, so you can zoom in and zoom out. And same with Terminal, we would get some different options and collect input from the neighborhood. This is a bigger park, so we'd have a bigger kind of radius, I guess, for input on this one. And I believe for the two playgrounds, we should hear, I think later this year, and then for Brandon Park, end of summer, I think is when we kind of get the notification of whether or not we would get the grant. And I didn't put the playground amounts in here. I think Veterans was about $385 total.
Through the beginning, so let's see. Total Veterans Park is $364 that we applied for, and then Terminal Park is $394.
And then we applied for a 50% grant, and then we used levy funds for our portion of that. So we all know about the Sue's Creek Botanical Gardens. There's a lot of behind the things happening with emails. Jason Whalen's been heavily involved in that, and Josh Arndt, our real estate specialist. We are completed a number of agreements, like the lease to Morris Skagen to live in the house. We've had our survey crew do boundary line adjustments and several other documents that have been completed. We are in the process of finalizing the purchase and sale agreements. There's just some kind of background lawyer and real estate stuff that's going on. I think we were originally shooting for the end of this month to close, so we'll see if that happens, but that's in the works. And then once everything is done and we have kind of all our receipts, we would begin our grant reimbursement with our finance department to compile everything and get everything submitted, like not just for the purchase, but we also have like our survey crew. Their time, it would be reimbursed as part of that, as part of the real estate costs. Just kind of one example there. So the next one is Veterans Park, again, the memorial. We have been looking for a while on how we can address the brick inscriptions that were done many years ago that have faded just due to weather, and so they're 90% of them probably are illegible. Is that a word?
Illegible.
Illegible. Yeah. We looked at replacing the bricks with new inscriptions, but that was
Cost prohibitive.
It was cost prohibitive, and the bricks themselves are structurally sound. And so we met with the American Legion representative and kind of talked at some different options. What we're looking at now is, instead of doing brick inscriptions, we've combed through the list of 1,100, whatever it is, different names and in memory ofs and everything, and gone through those. And so we're looking at instead installing signage inside of the kind of arcs of the memorial structure there. And don't put anything into this image on the right. I just typed in something real quick into AI to give us something to look on there, so you can ignore the 400 John Quincy Adams. But we're working with a local sign company who is going to be doing the design and installation. We'll have some special anti-graffiti measures that'll be put in place to, if someone spray paints it, chalks it, or whatever they might do. So it should be a good project, and then we'll have some leftover room on those signs for additional in memory of those type of things in the future.
The two of the posts coming down already have kind of, you can see in this picture actually where Daniel's yellow, have kind of granite in front of them. And so the signage will go instead on the other 3 areas. So the goal is to have it done by Veterans Day. Goal is to have it done by Veterans Day.
It'll be done. The next project is the Dykstra Footbridge, which connects Dykstra Park to Isaac Evans over the Green River. We had a bridge inspection report done that noted about 15 or 16 items that needed to be done. Here's just a couple examples. The image on the right is a pretty easy fix, where you're just tightening those lag bolts down. So we had a few of the items that our parks maintenance staff was able to do, like the picture on the right-hand side there. But then there's items like overwork or overwater work that needs to get completed, such as the one on the left, where that cable probably needs to be replaced. And so we are compiling the bid documents now for that. And the bid should go out, or the bid request should go out later this summer, and then hopefully we should be completed by the end of the year with the remaining 10 to 12 items or so for that, to complete that project. Okay, this is a lot of text, so, but it's a really neat program. This is a program that our parks maintenance manager, Stephanie Coleman, kind of headed. It's called the First Step Auburn program. It is taking our horticultural crew, and they partner up with students from the Auburn High School and Auburn Mountain View.
Correct.
Mountain View High School. They've been doing this for several years. The maintenance staff had brought them cuttings for trees where they, in the high school horticultural program, they make wreaths and sell them and fundraise. They plant flowers and everything. And then a year or two ago, for that particular part of it, for the wreaths, Stephanie and her crew actually invited the students to come do the cuttings themselves, just kind of learn about proper trimming techniques and those types of things. And then that kind of led into this new First Step Auburn program, whereas I'm sure Julia's mentioned it during budget and everything, where it's hard to find maintenance staff, especially seasonal maintenance staff. And so kind of the hopes of partnering with these high schools is to get people, or get the younger generation interested in maintenance,
Park maintenance,
park maintenance work. Yeah. And so Stephanie and Julie partnered with our HR department to create kind of a lower level internship type position for high schooler or a high school student at Auburn and Auburn Mountain View. The Mountain View one fell through, but we do have one student who has been working with Aaron Adesso from our horticultural crew, learning, not just watering, but learning proper planting techniques and trimming of trees, when the right time is to trim a tree branches, those type of things. And let's see what else. And so they're getting hands-on experience. Like I said, planting, trimming, learning how to ID trees, which I'm horrible at, flowers, plants, but that's Erin and her crew. They're amazing at that. And then they're I think I mentioned, but the Auburn High School, they grow plants and flowers and they sell them. And so the student who's working with Aaron and our horticulture crew, they're learning greenhouse techniques and temperatures and airflow and when to water and bug management, those types of things. And here's just a couple pictures of our student.
And this is Liliana Gentry from Auburn High School. Grabbed some photos of her doing her job with Aaron,
Action shots.
Awesome. And so I think the goal is to grow this in future years. This is like a first, how is this gonna work? And we've got some requirements. So because typically our seasonal start at the age of 18 and they can drive, and there's limitations in what we can have this employee do. And so, but where do we start and does it work? And can we grow a program like this to really give the students who are interested in that work, that are learning at school, to provide that real world practical experience for them, and then maybe long-term job creation of we've got this pipeline of students who are interested in going into park maintenance type work for us. So we're really excited about the first first step of this, and grateful for the HR to really help us develop a program. Like, we don't wanna, we need seasonals who can drive by themselves and stuff, but can we make a first step in really making this work? So we're really excited to have this student on board with us this year and looking to grow the program next year.
And I will pass it off to Julie.
So I can share a little bit about the December flooding event. So I know Matt was here talking about like the overall flooding, and because of that, we have the golf course took a significant hit during the flooding event. So both the Auburn Golf Course clubhouse itself, the pump house at the course, so the golf course pump house, the fleet of rental carts that we have for golfers, and then the Isaac Evans Park playground. So we're tracking nearly 1.9 million in insurance claims based on these flood damages. And it's really been a multi-department collective who are helping address this. And so really HR and risk management is that insurance claim support. And my apologies to Jamie and the finance department, but really the finance department for pulling that profit and loss statement for the business income loss that we're having from the golf course, as well as all the background information to what have we spent on this claim and how do we recoup that. The IT department has really helped with an IDF technology room that our facilities division couldn't, how do I need help with this piece? And then the technology support when we had how do we temporarily create operations at the golf course where we don't have all this stuff to make it work. So they've created Wi-Fi and MiFi options so we could still run the course instead of needing to use a temporary trailer or something. They created that backup. And then really a huge shout out to the facilities division and Edward and his team for the clubhouse portion of the basement. So it was all the initial basement water remediation, electrical repairs, hot water tank needed to be replaced. There was a walk-in cooler downstairs in the basement, HVAC replacement, the dry roll repairs, a fire sprinkler system, and then a whole bunch of miscellaneous repairs that needed to happen. So unexpected, January, and here's all these projects that his played, and it was really a tremendous amount of lift for him and his team of something that really wasn't on the docket, and we're back up and running fairly quickly. The restaurant came on board fairly quickly as well, and then we waited until kind of full operations. The HVAC and the walk-in cooler in the basement were kind of the last things to finish, just a long lead time for getting those two pieces. So here's just some photos of the low-level basement that's underground and all the water, but then now it's all cleaned up. And then here were golf carts underwater. So huge shout out to the Public Work Fleet Division and Ingrid and her team. So the golf carts were stored in the basement. The entire fleet was destroyed. The old carts were sold by the insurance company for salvage. And then the new carts arrived in February of 26, so 76 golf carts that are rentable by our people who are golfing, and then 2 utility carts. This is the golf course irrigation pump house replacement, so that which waters the entire course. They were destroyed by the flood, so it was the building, the electrical, and all the pumps were replaced. And then also the satellite boxes, so the irrigation controls needed to be replaced as well. And then on the Parks Division side, Isaac Evans Park was completely underwater, so kind of that picture to the bottom left and top right. At post-flood, it was all the trail cleanup. We had our entire crew out there cleaning trails and getting rid of debris, all the silt and debris thick on the trails. And then the playground surfacing needed to be replaced, and so that happened in March of 2026. They had to remove all of the surfacing, disposed of it, and then added new play chips to the playground. So that's golf course flooding. And then another huge shout out to the facilities division, and we had a CP project probably almost a year and a half ago that the siding on the community center or the senior center was failing, and so it needed to be replaced. And so they took that opportunity after 25 years to kind of do a refresh of the senior center. They replaced carpet and vinyl flooring inside the senior center. They replaced and painted all the siding, painted the trim. There's new gutters and downspouts. The exposed wood beams were stained. They replaced some windows and resealed others, and then repaired some water damaged roof areas. So here's some photos along the way of their work. Kind of new flooring to the right, interior. Some of that was carpeted. It was decided, let's create some vinyl flooring. It's a little bit easier for people with walkers and mobility challenges to really walk on a softer surface, or that vinyl surface versus carpet. They swapped out the carpet for carpet tiles that are easier to replace if something happens to them. This is just some photos of the exterior. And then in addition, after 25 years, the furniture also got a little bit of a refresh, and so we replaced all the furniture as well, which was very much needed after 25 years. And I'll go back to this first slide so I get the right date. But the celebrating 25 years in the senior center, if you want to mark your calendar, we're celebrating on Friday, September 11th with a special refresh opening, so we can celebrate all of the new items in addition to being there for 25 years for the seniors in that space. I'll turn it back to Thaniel now, who can talk about some of our community partnership projects that we have going on.
All right, so once again, just a couple bullet points for reference, and then I'll jump into these. Just kind of a recap on Clean Sweep. We had 466 participants. They worked 23 projects across 23 sites. There's a list of the projects there. A couple, just, I guess I kind of wanted to point out the large table that we have at Les Gove out by the rock wall that had some public artwork on it. It kind of run its course. The wood was all deteriorated, and you couldn't remove the artwork without damaging it. So we were, Allison, our arts manager, she worked with the original artist, and we de-accessioned. That's the word. De-assessed. So our crew removed the artwork and the existing tabletop out there, and then the Soroptimist and Rotary Club replaced those as one project. And so one thing with the metal artwork was it was kind of hard to use during the summer because it got really hot, obviously. Just with this summer, with our summer camp starting, they're actually able to use the table quite a bit more, enjoy that. They can put their paintings out there or have their snack time out there and gather. Over across the multiple parks, a lot of it was replacing or refilling play chips in playgrounds, doing painting, general cleanup at Ragnar Park. Said that right. They rebuilt the benches and tables that were 20 years old probably, and the wood was all rotted and everything. And we kind of noticed that when we were out there during the floods with all the other stuff was going on out there. And so those were replaced, or the frames were kept, but the wood for the tables and benches, and those were replaced.
I'm going to add, I'll stop him there, because we actually worked with the Auburn Riverside woodshop program. There probably is a better term than that, but that's what I can have in my head right now, to help us work on that project. And they were really excited to get the students out there. They walk that trail with their students every day. And so to have them helping us rebuild these benches and tables was really exciting.
Just a couple pictures from the different projects throughout the city here. Another project or partnership that we have is with Your Money Matters Mentoring. They applied for a Port of Seattle grant earlier this year, and they received the grant, one of the few, to get a $15,000 grant to do an environmental improvement program. And they are doing a project out at Marielson Farm where they're learning about their first kind of part of the project was learning about invasive vegetation and how to remove those properly, how to identify, because some of them look similar to native plants. So they started that at the beginning of summer. They're doing 1 day a week throughout the summer. They've had about 19, I think, youth that have been involved in that program. And they'll be learning about, throughout the summer, about pollinators, the creek or the stream that flows through there, about salmon habitat and the importance of vegetation on the sides of the creek to keep the water cool for salmon, those types of things. And then it also involves them preparing reports, doing presentations, and then reporting back to the Port of Seattle to report kind of their status and what they've learned and what they're doing for this environmental program as part of the grant. Just a couple pictures here of their first day out there of the summer. If you've been out there during the summer, after like 10 o'clock, it gets pretty warm. So they're doing a morning, I think, 9 to 12-ish, 9 to 11 program. So there's just a couple pictures here of them in action. And then another partnership program is the Puget Sound ISA, International Society of Arboriculture. They'll be doing an education and skills event and competition at Let's Go this summer, August 15th. It's there on the slide there. This is done with this group every year. They do it, so I think, twice a year. They haven't done it in South Puget Sound for a long time. Typically, it's up in Seattle or down in Portland. And so this year, we were excited to learn that they were interested to do it in Auburn. And we have a perfect setting in Les Cove with the kind of wide open area and ample parking and everything. And there was a couple crews out there on the 17th doing some kind of prep work, getting rid of some of the branches that were unhealthy or making the trees not look as they should. So they've already been out there doing work. And then there's just a couple pictures here of some past past events that they've done. So that would be an exciting thing if you're able to come down on that Saturday.
Get to watch some really cool tree climbing.
And yeah. And this is another kind of exciting program. This one came to us, actually just an email kind of out of the blue from the Masters Builders Association. They reached out to us several months ago asking if the city would be interested in a tree planting event. They call it Planting a Better Tomorrow. So we met with them several times. We had a few parks. We were looking at like Auburndale, Lee Hill, and Brannan. And we met with them on site at Brannan and the other parks several months ago. And it was decided that Brannan had some good option or good opportunity for them to do their planting event. And so we've been coordinating with them to look at what we could do out there. And this is, I kind of reuse these maps from the Brannan, but it worked out. So what they're currently looking at, so I'll start on the right slide again, is the outfield on field 3 is just kind of open. There's no fence out there. It doesn't match field 2, which has the line of arborvitaes at the warning track there. And so we've kind of measured out to have them plant arborvitaes kind of on the same arc as field 2 to match field 2 for field 3, and then also to add some potentially add some larger trees, some maples or evergreens, those type, along the western border of the park, kind of next to the senior housing. We didn't want to do arborvitaes over there because the seniors like to look into the park, so we've been looking at probably some larger trees that can be limbed up a little bit so you have your line of sight into the park, especially from the senior housing. I think the tentative date for that is September 18th. So we're meeting with them occasionally to work out the details on volunteers. So most of their volunteers are members of the Master Builders Association, who will be coming out and doing their kind of community service, for lack of a better term. to join in this tree planting event. And so that was the last one, and be happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you very much. Council, do we have questions? Councilmember Sturgis.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. This is lots of awesome updates. One quick question about the golf carts and future flooding. Have we done preventative measures in the basement to where this won't happen again if there's another flood to the new carts, or what's the plan there?
Yeah, we're looking at opportunities. So it's the retention pond on the backside overfilled, and it just, where it came in, the basement is the lowest spot, and so I know facilities is looking at what are opportunities maybe to stop that happening again. I think the amount of flooding we had this year, we've had flooding before, we've been fortunate, I guess. It's never been to that degree, so we are looking for opportunities to prevent it from happening again. I think we know where the line was, so like if we see it, we'll be able to pull out all the golf carts at least, but I think the hope will be to potentially create a fix if we can.
Council, any other comments or questions? Councilmember Sturgis.
Thank you. The Your Money Matters is so cool. Is that an opportunity for to become a yearly thing, or was it a one-time grant? And then also, would there be opportunity for the youth to present to council on how it was if they're presenting to Port of Seattle? Or is that something that you guys have talked about?
We haven't, but we can check with the contact for that. The Port of Seattle grant, I'm not sure if it's a yearly grant or if it's every other year.
Okay.
But it's eligible for nonprofits to apply for, and they have to work on a public site. So it has to kind of be a partnership opportunity. And maybe others can chime in.
Yeah, what a special opportunity.
Councilmember Taylor.
Yeah, so the project, it's a 3-year project, but you have to, every year, it's basically like starting a new project. And so, again, it has to be on public property. Yeah, so there's an opportunity, part of that requirement is that they have to present what they learned on. Yeah, there's a possibility of some of them wanna do that. There may be a few that might wanna present what they learned over the summer. Yeah, and so there's kids in the program that are from all over the area, as far as Burien have come out to work on that project, and so yeah, so it's been a really good project for them, getting them involved and introducing them to environmental work, and would love to have had the opportunity for it to be more than one day a week, but it was limited funding, so we wanted to try to accommodate as many students as we could. Initially, the goal was like 10 to 12, but sometimes it's hard to tell students no, so we ended up with about 19, and so yeah, it's been a good project.
That's so cool.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Councilmember Baldwin. On your First Step program, I love that we've tapped into our high schools, but have we given consideration to Green River College or even extending it outward? Because from what I understand, there's a lot of horticultural programs within some of our other colleges, like UW and whatnot too, like kids from the summer, college kids that would want to get involved so they can take that back for their further education.
For this First Step program, we focused on high school. I think the internship program reaches out to a lot of the community colleges and colleges for that opportunity. I can check with HR because they help us with their recruiting side. But that's a great opportunity we want all the people to come our way to, want to work in park maintenance, and we're always, at least we've got pretty good track record of getting a full-time employee, but to get that seasonal worker that, when the grass is growing and parks are busier and then we need that influx of support, it's really a harder job to fill. So many of our seasonals come from college, and it's a great summer job for them, but we'd like more of them.
Councilmember Taylor.
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick comment. Kudos to all of the different partnerships that you have. I really appreciate just the different ways that you're trying to get young people involved, especially introducing them to, potential areas of, career interest that maybe they never would have even thought about. But if nothing else, just a hands-on experience and learning some different things that, in particular, horticulture. I like this pilot project. It's something that is a real passion of mine in terms of how do we keep the kids engaged during the summer, because that usually is where the biggest gap is. And then watching this scale over time to where they're not just doing a summer project or program, but then there's an opportunity for that to move into seasonal work and then potentially eventually maybe getting hired, so you can see it scaling over time. And so that would be something that I would love to see us build that out, and hopefully there'll continue to be funding to do that. And then I lost my train of thought. But otherwise, I think it's great, and kudos to all of the work that's gone into making that happen. Yeah, I'd like to see that expand. And that was what I was talking about earlier, about having different opportunities in the summer for the kids. Some kids might not even know they like horticulture, right? Some kids might want to do environmental projects. Some kids might want to, I don't know, caddy for golfing over the summer. I don't know, but just really kudos to the park staff and city staff for just, beginning to really build some robust programming, hopefully around summer engagement for students, because we know that's typically where a lot of stuff happens or, kind of ramps up. So thank you.
Councilmember Emmer?
I saw that you will have a new bathroom at one of the parks. There is any plan to have one in Game Farm, Wilderness? I will ask every year. When the camp will start, I will make sure to ask every year. Just be a record.
I hear you. You've got one more.
Oh, sorry.
I did have one question. So I on the one slide, there was the 1.9 million. I think I see 1.9.
Yep.
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
So tracking there. So where are we at in terms of that?
As of July, we're at 1.9 million in claims that insurance has said, yeah, we agree with you. We have a call about once a month to make sure, have we captured everything that we're still claiming? Is there anything else? I think we're almost ready to wrap up. We're waiting to do a final business income. We've got our forensic accountant who's assigned to us that is doing the business loss. So that's probably the final piece, and we're waiting for all the projects to be finished and then close out. And so we've got retainage and a few things that haven't been billed yet that we need to wait for the invoices to come in. We expect, my goal is to be wrapped up by the end of August, assuming we're at the mercy of kind of vendors who are working for us, that they've submitted all their billing. And then we'll probably be back during the next budget amendment cycle. They've already made approved a first budget amendment in that first BA of this year to capture some of the claim for the fleet portion, and a few other, I think the initial payment for the golf course pump house, and then we'll capture the end of the claim, and then we'll collect all the money from insurance. So we're almost done, but I don't expect anything probably much more than the 1.9.
Okay.
And insurance has been phenomenal to work with.
That's good to hear.
Kudos to that team who, yep, you incurred that loss, and
Thank you.
did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
One question that I had on the bridge repairs, when you said that there was kind of a set of things that needed to be corrected. Some could be handled by staff and some would need to be completed by a contractor. Are there any that would shut down the bridge during repairs, or will it be able to stay open? Do you know?
I don't know, I'm just kind of guessing, like if they were working on this cable there, they probably don't want foot traffic on it, so I would imagine, I don't know, but I would imagine there would be some temporary closures, like if they had to put some sort of boom over the water to access pieces outside of the railing.
We'll know a little bit more when that contract is awarded, what they might need, and we would notify the public on both sides.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, if there's no other questions, I have one last piece, which is I was also excited to see the cricket field being added into the mix. Having played one season fairly poorly, I used to have to go all the way out to Redmond to be able to play and practice. So being able to have that in our region and in our area for our community, I think would be really nice. And even if I wasn't good at it, it's actually quite a lot of fun, especially when you get to be a batsman. So, council doesn't have any other questions. This was a great update. Thank you for compiling all of the many, many projects and programs that you guys are running. And thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Baldwin. Thank you again to our staff for the presentations tonight. So now, council, we are going to adjourn into an executive session per RCW 42.30.1101I to discuss legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation to which the agency is or likely to become a party when the public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency. Length of time for the executive session is 20 minutes. We will resume the meeting at, I'm gonna give us a couple of minutes, how about 7:12? In addition to City Council and Mayor Backus, City Attorney Whalen, Public Works Director Ingrid Galb will be required to attend. There is no anticipated action after the executive session. Oh, gosh, sorry.
It feels cold out here.
Thanks, Chief.
Gotta walk down in the door.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks for holding it down in here.
Thanks for holding it down.
It's like, really?
We have to resume it officially.
Yes.
Oh, no, we're not done.
Everybody's back. All right, we are back, better than ever. Let's finish things out where this is the section of the agenda where council can share topics and interests and or reports on special focus area matters. Report should be 5 minutes. Councilmember Ammer.
I have nothing to share.
Councilmember Sturgis.
I am scheduling time with Candace just to do a brief pre-plan for the next SFA agenda items based on some topics over the last couple weeks.
Fabulous. Councilmember Taylor.
Nothing tonight.
Councilmember Lott.
Nothing to report.
Councilmember Rakes.
Nothing.
Councilmember Baldwin.
I'll bring it to next session.
Fabulous. And I have nothing to report. Thank you. This meeting's adjourned.